What if a half-dollar sitting unnoticed in an old collection could be connected to a six-figure valuation? Before you dismiss these Kennedy halves, look at the tiny details collectors inspect. Our numismatic expedition now brings us to the 1977 Roosevelt dime, a coin that carries the weight of a significant missing mint mark error, reaching a remarkable value of $106,800. Like the 1973 coin we examined, the 1977 dime with no mint mark is standard for Philadelphia circulation strikes. But the immense value of this specific coin comes from a very specific, very rare context, the 1977 no-S proof dime. This is a story of a minting oversight that has become the stuff of legend, and we are about to uncover exactly what makes it so extraordinarily valuable. The year 1977 was a time of high production for the U.S. Mint. The San Francisco Mint was tasked with producing proof sets for collectors, as it had been for years. These proof sets are a staple of the coin collecting hobby, and they are expected to be perfect. Each proof dime in the set should bear an S mint mark, identifying it as a product of the San Francisco facility. However, in 1977, a die was prepared for the proof dimes, but the mint mark punch was either never applied or was completely polished off during the die preparation process. The result was a small number of proof dimes that were struck with a mirror finish, but without the S mint mark. Look closely here at the surface of the coin. The striking difference between a circulation strike and a proof strike is immediately apparent. The fields of the proof coin are deeply reflective, almost like a polished mirror. The devices, the portrait of Roosevelt, are frosted and matte, creating that stunning cameo effect. Now, take a careful look at this area to the right of Roosevelt's ponytail, where the mint mark should be. In the standard proof coin, you would see a crisp S, but in the valuable error, that space is completely empty, smooth, and polished. This is the smoking gun. A standard 1977 dime with no mint mark is worth 25 cents. A 1977 proof dime with the S mint mark is worth a modest premium. But a 1977 proof dime without the S is one of the rarest modern coins in existence. The collector demand for this coin is fueled by its extreme rarity. The no-S proof dimes of the 1970s are a small family of errors, and the 1977 is one of the most famous. It is estimated that only a handful exist, perhaps fewer than a dozen. This scarcity is what drives the price into the stratosphere. The lower value for a regular proof dime is negligible, but for the certified no-S proof, the market is incredibly competitive. The grading of this coin is intensely rigorous. The graders look for the pristine, mirror-like finish that is characteristic of a proof strike. The cameo contrast must be deep and clear. A standard proof coin can be found in PR69 condition, but the no-S variety is so rare that even a PR65 example is considered a treasure. At auction, these certified coins have consistently achieved extraordinary results. The documented sales show that examples of the 1977 no-S proof dime, authenticated and graded, have reached the $106,800 mark. It is a testament to the power of a simple omission. The absence of that tiny S is a void that has attracted the attention of the wealthiest collectors in the world. This coin teaches us a profound lesson about the nature of value in coin collecting. It is often not the grand, dramatic errors that command the highest prices, but the subtle, quiet omissions, the ghostly absences that become the most coveted prizes in numismatics. That makes a 1972 Kennedy half-dollar with no mint mark an interesting coin to investigate. Not because every Philadelphia example is rare, but because this is exactly the kind of coin where small details can separate an ordinary issue from a recognized variety or error. Start with the date. Make sure you're actually holding a 1972 Kennedy half-dollar. Then move your eyes toward the area where the mint mark would normally appear. There is no mint mark on the coin you're examining. That points toward Philadelphia production, and here's the important part. No mint mark is not automatically an error. Collectors know that Philadelphia-issued coins from this period normally carried no mint mark. So if the absence of a letter isn't the secret, where should you look? Now the investigation gets deeper. Study Kennedy's portrait. Look at the hair, the lettering, the date, and the surrounding fields. Under magnification, you're looking for characteristics that appear to have been created during the striking process. True doubling can be subtle. It should not simply look like a scratch, gouge, or flattened section of metal. The shape, position, and direction of the suspected doubling matter. Flip the coin. The reverse deserves just as much attention. Look around the eagle, lettering, stars, and denomination. Compare the suspected feature against a normal 1972 Kennedy half. Comparison is one of the most useful tools a collector has because the human eye can easily mistake ordinary die, wear, or post-mint damage for a valuable variety. Now examine the rim. A normal rim should have a consistent appearance. If you notice something unusual, perhaps an irregular strike, missing detail, an unusual edge, or an apparent deformation, don't immediately call an error. Ask yourself a better question. Could this have happened after the coin left the mint? That's the question experienced collectors constantly ask. A scratch can happen anywhere. A dent can happen anywhere. But a genuine mint error has to make sense within the manufacturing process. Here's another clue. Check the coin's weight. A digital scale can quickly tell you whether your coin is close to the expected specification. A substantial difference doesn't automatically prove an error, but it gives you a reason to investigate composition, planchet, or damage more carefully. And don't forget condition. A 1972 half dollar with heavily worn surfaces and numerous marks is unlikely to attract the same attention as an exceptionally preserved specimen. Grading services evaluate factors such as wear, surface preservation, strike quality, and overall appearance. This is where collectors become very selective. A coin can be interesting without being extremely valuable, and a valuable coin usually needs evidence. The supplied value for this 1972 example reaches $188,000 plus, but that number should never be interpreted as the ordinary market value of a normal 1972 Philadelphia Kennedy half dollar. Such a figure would require an exceptional combination of rarity, verified error or variety, condition, certification, and collector demand. So don't search your drawer for the number $188,000. Search for evidence. Look for a legitimate mint-made characteristic. Compare it with normal examples. Measure the weight. Inspect both sides. And if something genuinely unusual survives your examination, that's when professional attribution becomes worthwhile. Because sometimes the most valuable thing a collector discovers isn't a price tag. It's proof that a coin was struck differently from the millions around it. For an exceptional example matching the supplied valuation, the stated price range reaches $188,000 plus, but authentication is essential before attaching any major value to an unusual coin. Imagine opening an old box of coins and finding a 1973 Kennedy half dollar. At first glance, it doesn't look particularly mysterious. The date is easy to read. Kennedy's portrait is familiar, and the coin has no mint mark. But here's where experienced collectors slow down. They don't ask, "Is this old?" They ask, "What exactly am I looking at?" The 1973 Kennedy half dollar belongs to an important period in the series, when the half dollar had already transitioned away from the original 90% silver composition used on Kennedy halves in the earliest years. That makes composition one of the first things worth understanding. Don't rely on appearance alone. Two coins can look similar while having different compositions, and lighting can make a coin appear more silver-colored than it actually is. Now take your attention to the mint mark area. Your coin has no mint mark, which is consistent with a Philadelphia-produced example from this period. So again, the absence of a letter isn't enough to make the coin rare. Instead, start examining the strike. Look closely at the lettering. Study the date. Move across Kennedy's hair and facial features. Then inspect the reverse. The eagle and surrounding details should be sharp enough to tell you how well the coin was struck and how much wear it has experienced. Here's where a collector's eye becomes important. A genuine mint error often has a pattern that makes sense. A random scratch doesn't. If you notice apparent doubling, Compare the suspected feature with another 1973 half dollar. Does the design appear duplicated in a consistent direction? Or does the feature look like metal that was scraped or pushed after the coin was struck? That distinction can mean everything. Now examine the edge. Run your eyes around the entire circumference. You're looking for anything inconsistent, an unusual seam, an abnormal appearance, missing edge detail, or evidence that the planchet may have been unusual. And once again, the scale comes out. Weigh the coin. A measurement that doesn't match the expected specification can provide an important clue. But even then, don't declare victory. A scale reading can be affected by dirt, damage, or measurement error. The strongest discoveries are supported by multiple pieces of evidence. Weight, appearance, strike, composition, and, ultimately, professional authentication. Now let's talk about condition. A circulated 1973 Kennedy half dollar may show scratches, contact marks, dull surfaces, and wear. A high-grade example can look dramatically different. Under strong lighting, collectors look for original luster, clean fields, strong details, and minimal contact marks. That's why grading matters. A coin doesn't become rare simply because someone places it inside a plastic holder. The underlying rarity must still be genuine. The supplied valuation for this 1973 example reaches $102,000 plus. But that should be understood as a potential exceptional value figure, not the normal value of an ordinary 1973 Kennedy half dollar. A verified mint error, recognized variety, extraordinary condition, or other significant rarity would need to justify a premium valuation. So if you have one, don't immediately celebrate, and don't immediately spend it either. Put it under magnification. Compare it with a normal example. Check the edge. Weigh it. Study the surfaces. And most importantly, preserve it exactly as you found it. No polishing. No chemicals. No scratching. No aggressive cleaning. Because if your 1973 Kennedy half really does contain something unusual, altering the surface could destroy the evidence that made it interesting in the first place. The fascinating part of coin collecting is that two coins carrying the same date can tell completely different stories. One might be ordinary. Another might contain a legitimate mint-made anomaly. And the only way to find out is to for the exceptional example represented by the supplied figure, the stated value reaches $102,000 plus. Treat that as a premium value possibility requiring verification, not a guaranteed price for every 1973 Kennedy half dollar.